Welcome back to my kitchen, Gigi's Kitchen, where we get to learn all about prepping and cooking and dining and just have a general good time. And I'm preparing for a busy week, so I'm going to do this video on a little bit of prep. It's hot here, as it is in the summer, and sometimes in the evening we come in and we don't want to have a big heavy meal. So I like to keep a repertoire of salad dressings in the refrigerator ready to go. And we don't use bottle dressing or packet dressings. They're so easy to make. We just make them. I put them in an airtight container, put them in the refrigerator, and they're ready. So I thought I would share that with you today. We're going to make a little ranch, a little Caesar salad vinaigrette, and maybe a balsamic we'll throw in there too. I really enjoy doing these videos, so don't forget to subscribe and to like my video. And send me some comments and let me know what you want to learn. Maybe I can help you out. Also, I just want to say that let's cook. So, before we can have salad, we have to have croutons. So I thought I'd go over a real quick recipe on how to do croutons because they're so easy. Basically, I get a French loaf from the deli section of the grocery store. It's already cooked, ready to go. They're usually a large loaf, but I cut them in half. I put this half in the freezer for the next time, and then I cut these up, the other half up, into little cubes. So they end up looking like this. And we like ours kind of big. So you can make them smaller, you can make them larger, you can just leave them like this and make toastette rings too. But I'm going to show you how we do the croutons. So I have a little bit of seasoning here. This is a non-salted seasoning blend because I also add to this seasoning blend a little garlic salt. So that has my salt in it. But I do like my croutons a little bit more garlicky. And we do eat a lot of garlic around here. So this is the seasoning blend I'm going to use. And of course we have to douse the whole thing with extra virgin olive oil. So here we go with this. But before I go any further, I want to show you. I cut these in little rings, about 1 inch. Make sure you have a good serrated knife that you can use. And then I put my hand over the top like this and slide it right through. Then I come back and do the other side. So then I have, when I'm done, I have 3 strips. Then we turn it and cut it into cubes. I'd say about 1 inch cubes. Like so. And then they go in the bowl. So that's all I need to do with that. Then I'm going to take my olive oil and I'm going to douse it on here really good. And the reason I don't do this in the pan, although you could, and I have, is because I want to toss this really well to make sure everything is coated really well. I want every one of these little pieces of cubed bread to have at least a good douse of olive oil on it. So then I'm going to put that in there and I'm going to toss it up and toss it around. Oops, there was one. So you can see part of it still is lacking a little bit of olive oil. So I'm going to come back with another drizzle. Maybe not as much as the first time. But then after this one, I think we're good. Every little crouton will have a little bit of olive oil. And I'm going to go ahead and put another. So this is probably a teaspoon of non-salted generalized seasoning salt. And then a teaspoon of garlic salt. So you can do whatever you want there on seasoning. You make it spicy. You can put some jalapeno powder on it or some cayenne pepper if you want them spicy. But that's pretty well the gist of it. The next thing I'm going to do is get it my big stainless steel blazer. And I'm going to put them in there. And they have plenty of room so that I can toss them around. And this goes into the oven uncovered at 375. So my oven is preheated to 375. This will go in the oven and they will toast up. And I'd say I'd give it a good 10 minutes and then I would toss it and then give it another 10 minutes toss it again if I need to, and make sure they're crunchy all the way through. So one of the things is that when you're testing it, if you touch it and it bounces back, they're not ready. When they're ready, they will not bounce back. They will be nice and toasty and brown, and then when you break them, they will crumble apart, and you know they're ready then. So these are ready to go into the oven. Moving on to salad dressings. So here we go with our salad dressing. The first one I'm going to do, and I usually always do it in this order because I like to be able just to move to the next one using the same jar and mixing utensils, and you'll see what I mean in just a minute. I have 1 cup of sour cream. I like mine made with sour cream. I like the tanginess of it. You can do half mayonnaise, half sour cream, however you like it. Whatever creamy goodness you want for your base, you feel free to experiment and design your own. In here is our ranch packet, and here is our half and half to thin it. So I'm going to go over what's in here. First of all, I make it with buttermilk, powdered buttermilk. And I order that online, but you usually can get it in your local grocery store or your health food store. Now what makes ranch is dill. You need to have lots of dill. We use the dried dill in this. You can add a little fresh to it if you want. And I'm going to add all the spices together, put it all in one big batch. Then I divide it up into portions, and then it goes into the cabinet like this, so I can just grab this packet and go to make me a new one when I get ready to make it. That's what's in this bag, and you'll be able to see this. It'll come up on the screen as usual, and it'll be in the description box as well. But we just take this just like we would any, dump it in, whoo, stir it up, blend it. And it's going to be really thick because I use a really thick sour cream. And so you just keep blending until you get it all mixed together. Once we get it all mixed together, you can see in there how thick that is. Then I will start adding the half and half until I get it the consistency I want. Now if you want, you could put this in a blender, but I don't like to mess with blenders. I have an immersion blender and I do like it. I use it a lot. But for this, I just mix it with my spatula. Stir it around a bit, get it going, and there you are. Now we're going to add our half and half. And I'm going to put, what is that, about 2 ounces, 3 ounces I poured in there, and then I'm going to stir it around. Now, if I want a dressing to go on a traditional American side salad, I will leave this a little bit thick. But if I want it as a dip for like broccoli and carrots or chips, I'm going to thin it down even more. But most of the time, I leave it a little bit thick, and then if I want it for dip later, I take out what I want for dip and thin it to the consistency of dip. So, see, it's thinning out already. Keep going. Till it's all well blended, and there you go. You have ranch dressing. And if you see, when I go to take it out, it's a dollopy. See how I got nice big dollops? That is a good dressing there. Now if I wanted this for dip, I would probably want it a little bit thinner. But you might not. You might like it thick. So there, it's ready to go. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator in an airtight container, and it's ready to go. One of the things I do on a regular basis, and it makes everybody so upset, is that I will put it back in the sour cream container I took it out of, and then just write it with a Sharpie on the top of it, ranch dip. But they reach in there and think they're getting sour cream, and they open it and it's ranch. But that's okay. Then they're like, Mom, where's the ranch? There's your ranch. Very simple, easy to do. And your ranch powder is so easy. You mix it all up, put it in the little snack baggies and stick it in the cabinet, and it'll be ready to go when you're ready for it. And we have ranch. So we're going to move on to the Caeser dressing now. And this is a basic vinaigrette Caesar. I do make a creamy Caesar, and that's on another video, which will be coming out pretty soon, so watch for it. It's a creamy Caesar with sauteed shrimp salad. Makes a great chef salad. But this would be a basic Caesar, and you can adjust all the ingredients to your liking, however you like it. The only thing that I would say that I would be careful about adjusting is your vinegar and your oil ratio, because we want it to be thick and creamy and emulsify with the parm. So that's where we are with that. This is the same picture I had a while ago. I made the ranch in, and as you can see, I didn't clean it. I'm going to leave all of that in here, and all of that little bit of herby goodness from the ranch is going to blend right into my Caesar. So we move on, add those little tidbits in there, and it's going to give it a little bit of a zing. So let's review our ingredients. We've got 1 cup of extra virgin olive oil. It goes in. Then we have our acid. With the vinaigrette, we always have an acid, and I'm using apple cider vinegar. One of my favorites. I always use the organic with the mothers in it, so it's there. And I'm going to use 1/3 of my acid. The next part of my ingredients are this. Many times in the past, they would add a raw egg to vinaigrette, and you've probably heard me say that before. So that we could have the viscosity so the vinaigrette would stick to the leaves. I don't use an egg in mine. You're welcome to give it a go if you want to, but I don't. So this is a no egg vinaigrette. But we still have all the other basic ingredients. I have Worcestershire sauce here. Now I have 2 tablespoons. But if you like to just spritz it out of the bottle, I would give it 10 good spritz. I've got a teaspoon of Dijon style mustard and 2 anchovy fillets. And yes, I do add the anchovies. Once it's all blended down, you don't taste the fish. You don't taste any fishiness, but it does give it a good depth of flavor. So that goes in. Then the next thing that we have is our Tabasco style, Louisiana style hot sauce. And I have 1 tablespoon of that. I use 5 splashes if you're a splasher. So there you go, 1 tablespoon, and 1 pressed garlic clove. That goes in as well. Okay. I also have fresh grated parm, and this is important. It needs to be fresh grated, and it needs to be on the smallest grate that you can. If you can powder it, that even makes it better, but that's so that it can break down and emulsify into your vinaigrette here. So I'm going to put that in. 1/4 cup. Now, if I was doing a huge, gigantic batch, a double batch, I might use my immersion blender to get it really emulsified. But since I'm just making 1 batch to kind of show you how to make it, and then we'll probably have this for dinner on a Caesar salad tonight. That's probably one of our favorites. So there is, everything's in here. I do have a little bit of seasoning left from my croutons I had made earlier with the garlic salt in it. So I'm going to go ahead and dump that in there. Get that out of the way. And I'm going to grate my fresh black pepper. Tilla cherry black pepper, and I'm going to give it a good 10 grinds. I don't know how much that is, but you don't have to put it in. You can put in whatever you want on that, salt and pepper it. I would say that this one is the same. They all need to mingle a little bit. Put them in the fridge and let them mingle. This you can serve sooner than I would the ranch. You could probably serve it for dinner tonight if you made it, serve it straight up. It's just fine. So the next thing I'm going to do is get my whisk, and I have this little whisk here that I use for everything. And then I'm just going to whisk it all up. And I'm going to get it going and see it's already emulsifying as I splatter it all over the kitchen. because I'm tilting my jar. So then, if I really want to emulsify it, I have one of these gadgets. And this is not for frothing my latte. This is for blending my dressings. All of them. I use it all the time. And see, it'll whiz it right up and break down that cheese. I think I paid $10 for this thing at the TJ Maxx maybe, and it works good. So I have one. I don't froth my coffee, but if I did, I'd probably have an extra one for that, and then this one's just for my salad dressings and so forth. But it does get in here, it breaks up the cheese, and there we go. So now we have Caeser dressing. You can taste it, adjust your salt, your pepper, make it more spicy if you want with the Tabasco. You can add more garlic to it if you want, but this is pretty much the basic thing. Now I'm going to pour it in here, and it's going to go in the fridge. One thing is that my anchovy didn't get as broken up as I'd like it, but that's okay. If you use an immersion blender, it will even blend it all even smoother. But I just didn't want to dig it out of the cabinet today. So there's that. I'm going to set it aside. And then this gets sealed when it goes into the refrigerator. And I like to take mine out about 30 minutes before so it can come up to room temperature and it can get a little bit soft. And then you can drizzle it on your salad. But this is ready to go. We're going to put our lettuce, our romaine, in a big bowl. You're going to add your croutons to it, and then you're going to drizzle your dressing all over the top of that so your dressing and lettuce gets really well and doused really well. Then you're going to sprinkle your Parm, more fresh grated Parm on the top of it, salt and pepper, and you're going to toss it all and serve it. So normally I have a big bowl that I put my Caesar in. Anyway, there you are, Caesar dressing, ready to go. Moving on, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the balsamic. It's very simple. And we're going to, again, use the same picture. We're going to have all the herbs from the ranch. We're going to have all the herbs from the Caesar. And then we're going to add our vinegar and our balsamic. It's a basic vinaigrette, 2/3 cup of oil to 1/3 cup of acid. And again, I'm going to be mixing it into the bowl that I've already been using. Now, if you are just mixing this at home all by yourself and you weren't doing the repertoire thing, I would normally, if I'm doing that, I might add a touch of Dijon to this, I'm talking a half a teaspoon of Dijon, and maybe a little seasoning and a dash of seasoning, and maybe just a dash of salt and pepper. So it really is just 2 ingredients, but I'm already started, so I have all my good little tidbits left over from my ranch and my Caesar, so I've already got all of that in here. But the star of this show is the balsamic, which gives us a very dark, fruity flavored vinaigrette. It's great on salads and tomatoes. We use it on so many things. Bruschetta, it goes on and on. I don't usually show labels, but I'm going to talk about this because people always are asking me this question. What is balsamic? What is that? Well, this is a vinegar that is made from wine, and it is a wine-based vinegar, and it is aged in oak barrels. And so the longer it's aged, the richer, the more depth of flavor it has. The one thing that I want to say is it can be expensive, but I want you to shop around and look for several, 2 or 3 different little bottles, take them home, taste them, see which one you like the best. This one is just one I can get here, it's locally, and the most important thing is there is nothing in here. When you read the ingredients at the grocery store, make sure it's all natural. It doesn't have any caramel flavoring, any preservatives, any of those things in there, because that's going to distract from the flavor. But when I turn it over and I read the ingredients on here, it says organic wine vinegar, organic cooked grape must, that's what makes it ferment, and contains only naturally occurring sulfites. There's no preservatives, there's no caramel coloring, none of that. And when I do pour it out, it's really nice and thick and brown. You can see it almost looks like Worcestershire sauce. But you can get it even aged more and more. This one I think is like aged for a year or so maybe. But you can get them aged up to 25 years. They sit in those barrels and age, and the price goes up from there. Yeah, I mean, one little bitty bottle could be $25. So just look around and see what's in your store. Try what you want. Spend the money if you want. I'm not sure this one works for me. I get it locally. Sometimes I like to splurge on a little extra when I go into the big city, and I can go to the big fancy grocery stores and shop all the fancy, stuff they have there. I'll pick up a small bottle and try something different for a change. Also, I know they sell balsamic glaze, which is wonderful on Brussels sprouts and all kinds of great stuff. But it's so easy. You just take this, you put it in the skillet, you reduce it down, because it is a wine-based vinegar. It's going to be sugary and sweet, and it's going to reduce down and make your thick sauce, and that's all you need to do. Then you pour it on whatever you want, instead of buying the glaze already in the bottle. Maybe we'll do that in a video. So anyway, back to our dressing mixing. So here we go with our 2/3 cup of extra virgin olive oil again. And then I'm going to add the balsamic. Here we go. And then I'm going to mix it around a little bit and get some of this goodie down off the edge. Get it in there just so I can have that extra little flavor. Love the little flavor bombs. So my husband's favorite salad is a salad caprese, which I will be making when we do the jazzy piccata, which is coming up soon, I hope. And see, I'm just whizzing it together. See how it all emulsions in there and comes together. And there we have it. You can salt and pepper it to your whim, put it in the refrigerator, and it's good to go. Right before you serve it, whiz it up, make sure it's good and emulsed, and you're ready. So I will go get my airtight container and put this up too. Balsamic vinaigrette, I think we're good. I have one of these that I like to use for vinaigrette too. It's one of those little blender bottles, and usually they have the little bouncy ball that goes inside. You can put your dressing in here and then seal it up really good. You got your bouncy ball ready to go. I have a ton of these, because they were so popular for a while. And then set it out, because I let it come to a little bit of room temperature so you can shake it really good, and then pour it out and call it a day. There we go. Every last bit counts. I love these little spatulas because you can really scrape all the goodie down. I have tons of them in all different sizes and shapes that I use. And then that's ready. And now that's ready to go. All we have to do. Make sure this is on good and tight before you start shaking it. So then when you go to shake it, hold it down good, then you can shake it. There we go. Balsamic vinaigrette. So there you have it. We put up our salad dressing, so we'll have them for the next week when we're going to be so busy. And we can come home and do a quick chef salad for the evening meal, and which is always nice in the summertime, so cool and refreshing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Got any questions, send me a note. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week. So, thanks for joining me.